G'day guys and welcome to Raging Rhino. It's time for episode 10 of season 2 of The Bad Batch. This episode is called Retrieval. This is going to obviously lead directly on from last week's episode where, of course, The Bad Batch go on another mission for Sid, pretty much fail, and they get their ship stolen, and of course they're stranded on the planet that they went to. Now, this episode, I wonder if we're going to find out whether or not Sid is actually trustworthy or not, but that's really the extent of this story so far. Of course, last week we had Omega just being all emotional about Echo leaving and, of course, them losing their ship, and I wonder what lessons she's going to learn in this episode. Let's get straight into this. Now, if you are new here, of course, I watched the episode. You get to see some of my reactions from watching the episode, and then you get to hear my review and my thoughts at the very end. So let's get into this.
Not the ship. I mean, we can track Gonky.
Oh, ingenious idea.
Oh, of
Try doing a
course.
trace on his binary reference
Ingenious
code.
idea that Omega has. Nobody else thought of it. I'm curious
Gonky's
whether or
signal
not
is
Sid's
pinging
going to
from
actually
down
send
there.
anyone.
I'm reading.
What's the bet that by the end of the episode they take Ben with them? And then by the end of the season, him and Omega are having a romantic
Less than
relationship. What is this? Oh, let the rebellion rise
I
up.
was taking my share.
Wow, okay. So that episode definitely did just lead on from the previous episode. The thief of their ship, Benny, this guy here, takes it to his Ipsium mine that apparently this guy Marco's been running and essentially using his crew as slaves and holding back all the profits, keeping it all for himself, and essentially starving his crew to death to basically get them to work harder, to manipulate them into actually doing his bidding, and he just basically gets all the profits. By the end of the episode, the guy Benny that stole the ship originally ends up helping the Bad Batch crew because Omega figures out that they can track the Gonk droid that they've got on their ship. They can't track the ship, but they can track the Gonk droid. So that's what she does, because she comes up with all the brilliant ideas. They capture Benny, they go into the base, they basically go into the mine, and while they're trying to figure out how to basically put their ship back together, while they're doing that and figure out how to lower the shield so they can get their ship out, this guy Benny figures out, or Omega figures it out, and shows Benny that Marco's been basically fucking with them. Basically just manipulating them into doing his bidding for them. It is a really, kind of lame episode, to be honest. Obviously, they needed to finish off the story from last week, but I don't know. It just isn't any good. Obviously, there's a rebellion that rises up against Marco, this guy here, the leader, because he has been manipulating them the whole time. And that's pretty much it, really. I found it funny how he's got a droid hand and he clasps onto Ben's, hand, and as he falls, he lets go. If it's a droid hand, won't it just clamp and lock it? Can't he just lock it into place? It would have taken Ben with him. The lesson that Omega learns in this episode is pretty much this statement right here at the end.
The Empire's not the only threat. We've seen so many in the galaxy like Moko.
Unfortunately, yes. However, there are many like us out there as well.
That's it. That's the lesson to learn. I also find it really funny how last episode they ask Sid for help and they ask Sid to send somebody to come and retrieve them and help them out. And Sid says, I'll let you know what I can do in the next couple of days. It seems that it sort of is straight on from the next day from that previous episode. It's not the same day, but it's the very next day. But Sid didn't obviously send anyone, didn't do anything to help them. It was just a lame thing in the last episode to end it where, they need help. They, to basically tease the audience in the fact that they're not going to get the Marauder back, their ship back. That was really it. That was the purpose of it. This season of The Bad Batch has honestly been pretty lame. It's not progressing the story at all. Everything that they seem to do, they fail in regards to or the missions that they get sent out by Sid. They fail every time. So they're not actually making any credits. I don't know where they're getting the fuel from to run their ship. I don't know where they're getting any credits to get food or anything like that, because every mission that Sid sends them on, they fail. And if you don't believe me, go back through my reviews, go back through the episodes and rewatch them. I wouldn't recommend that because it's horrible. But go back and rewatch it and you'll see that every time Sid sends them out on a mission, they fail the mission. Every time. Without fail, they fail. And like I said, it's really not making the story go anywhere. It's all about teaching Omega a lesson. There weren't too many reactions that you got to see from me throughout that episode because it was literally just a lame episode. You kind of knew that by the end of it, they were going to get their ship back. The bad guy was going to be defeated. And of course, the person who uncovers everything and has the solution for everything is Omega. The Bad Batch guys seem to be just dumb. It was Omega's idea to basically be able to track the Gonk droid so that they can find where their ship is. It was Omega's idea to basically download the information to show that he was basically betraying his workers. Everything Omega does turns to gold. But none of the Bad Batch guys think of anything. Anytime that Ben guy got out of line, all they had to do was make Wrecker growl at him. That was it. That was honestly it.
Be in? How's that my fault?
Like that.
Relax.
That's it. That's all they had to do. Because Wrecker's a dumb piece of shit. And so is everybody else in the Bad Batch. They basically just put the ship together while Omega's off doing the things that she needs to do. And they explain it where Omega's going to be the one that blends in as opposed to any of these other clones going out and, you know, making their way through this base. But it's obviously written that way so that we can have a heightened Omega while all the other characters are just, they don't really do anything. They don't really know anything. This entire season has been absolute filler garbage. It really has. We've had one episode with Crosshair, episode 3, and we're 10 episodes in. I think we got maybe 4 or 5 episodes left. Maybe 6. And that's it. That's it. And the story hasn't progressed one little bit. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this entire season. If you've been watching it, if you've just been watching my reviews, let me know your thoughts on this season. And basically, am I missing something? Has there been progression in your eyes? Let me know in the comments. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next week for episode 11 of The Bad Batch. And of course, the newest best thing to ever come out in Star Wars, Mandalorian Season 3. Later, guys.